Hey, Kipsters, welcome back to science class. Today we're going to practice making hypotheses. Remember guys, you can make a hypothesis if you use your imagination. Our objective for today is 5.2a, the testing of a simple experiment. For today, our aim, Kipsters will be able to generate testable questions and hypotheses to answer questions around the world. Hypothesis is one of our guaranteed words. That means we need to fill out your vocab square. Please pull out your vocabulary notebook while Mr. Wertz hands out your vocabulary square. An example of hypothesis. Every night, the weatherman will make a hypothesis about tomorrow's weather. Pause this video and write down your definition of hypothesis. Kipsters, there are two types of variables in science class, and these are extremely important when we want to create our hypotheses. The first is the independent variable, the variable that the scientist changes. Using our example from the previous lesson, Mr. Schmidt changes the amount of sunscreen he uses from day to day. The dependent variable is the variable the scientist measures. Mr. Schmidt measures how sunburned he gets from the first Saturday to the second Saturday. Mr. Schmidt is going to make a hypothesis for us. It says, after his accident in the sun, Mr. Schmidt took what he found and decided to make a hypothesis. Here is his hypothesis. If I only put on sunscreen in the morning, then I will receive a terrible sunburn because my skin is not protected throughout the day. That is Mr. Schmidt's hypothesis. Using our example from yesterday, let's take a look at this question once more. Miss Peters asked the question, does the amount of sunlight I give a plant affect how tall it grows? The independent variable, or the variable that Mrs. Peters is changing for each of the plant, is the amount of sunlight. What she will measure at the end of her experiment is how tall the plant will grow. That is her dependent variable. In order to make a hypothesis, you must include the following words, and there are three: if, then, and because. Pause this video and write down the three words for the hypothesis: if, then, and because. Using what we've learned, we are going to try and make a hypothesis together. The question: does the amount of sunlight I give a plant affect how tall it grows? Our independent variable is the amount of sunlight. It's going to change for each plant. The dependent variable, or what we will measure, is how tall the plant grows. Using the words if, then, and because, we are going to form a prediction or a guess about how we think this experiment will work. Our hypothesis: if we give a plant unlimited sunlight, then it will grow as fast as possible because plants need sunlight to make food. Let's try another one. Our question: does the amount of heat determine how fast a candy bar will melt? Our independent variable is amount of heat. Dependent variable is how fast the candy bar melts. Before we take a look at our hypothesis, I want you at your tables to come up with a hypothesis with your group. Go. Time's up. Let's take a look at a hypothesis that we could use for this question. If a candy bar is placed in over 100-degree weather, then it will melt faster than in room temperature because the heat is able to turn a solid candy bar into liquid.